Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Uh, Welcome in. Let's just go right into the conversation, right? Today I want to talk about adversity. And you know how I always start, right? I always say, let's go into the definition of adversity. So that's what we'll do. Adversity is difficulties or misfortunes, right? Or or unlucky situation or events. Now, there's a majority of us that can say, we've been through some adversities, right? Whether they be physically, mentally, emotionally, right? Tragic. Uh what up though? My 33 brother in the building. What up though? Right? Whether it's losing, losing a parent, whether it's at an early age or early stage in life, or just them leaving us in an inopportune time, or just old age, right? Or you know losing, being foreclosed on a home, or difficulty with raising children, or childbirth for some young ladies that go through situations like that. Financial situations, those are things that we call, those are things that is called adversity, right? And like I said, a lot of us have gone through those type of situations. A lot of us have gone through those stages. And we have a tendency to worry about things that we can control, and some things that we cannot control, right? Those are the most difficult parts of adversity, right? You can't control if it's raining or not, but you worry about it, right? You think it's a sucky situation that you got your favorite clothes on, and you going through a rainy day or a snowy day, right? But those are minor things. But let's just have the conversation about the bigger things in life. You know, some of us are going through relationship situations and feel like we are stuck in it because we don't want to lose the investment of time that we go through, whether it's a friendship, or a boyfriend, girlfriend, or even same sex relationships. Not trying to be, you know, uh, I don't want to be politically incorrect. So we just gonna go with that, right? So you go through these situations, and we find ourselves not wanting to leave said situation because you don't want to lose time. You feel like you sacrificing in those you don't want to lose, right? That's what we say is a sacrifice, when you give something up, right? Or when you lose something to 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 benefit yourself in some way, shape, or form. But sacrificing is really when you lose, because when you invest, you are hoping for a return. But if there's no return, there's sacrifice. But in this case, we're talking about sacrificing because we don't want to leave a situation, because we don't want to lose. There's no, people think there's no uh 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 and no results by up and leaving. But I'm going to show you in this particular case why it is possible to gain in a situation like that, right? So we just go to a simple word. It is going to be diversity. Diversity is the state of being diverse, the condition of having or being composed of differing elements, especially the inclusions of people of different races, culture, etc., in a group or organizations. So pretty much, you become diverse when you become diverse, overcoming the adversity that we was just speaking about. So in other words, so now if we leave an abusive relationship, right? We become diverse because we had the strength to leave said situation. You become diverse when You say, you know what? I had my home foreclosed, right? I may have lost, but I've gained the information and understanding of what may happen if I don't take care of my business. You may have lost your marriage because of you not paying attention or the other partner not paying attention, but the diversity comes in when you learn the lesson that is stated in those situations, right? So now if you look up to be married again, or you fortunate enough to be married again, you know that you have to do better than what you did in the first place. So for me, that is what diversity is. And that's why for me, adversity makes you diverse, right? In order to have a testimony, you must have a test, right? You have to go through some things to learn lessons. That's what adversity brings when you become diverse. Scorp, good morning. How are you? Right. So, like I said, when you go, like, even when I started doing, when I started doing lives, right? I always felt that, you know, I was going to be, I wasn't going to say words correctly. I was going to fumble my words. I was going to mumble expressions and things of that nature. But only through the experience of continuing to go forward, my adversity has made me more diverse and has elevated my understanding and execution of words, shall we say. Uh, when you have to go through something in order to become something. In order to make iron, you got to go through the fire, right? Iron sharpens iron, but iron must go, the fire iron must go into the fire to become said iron, right? You have to be adverse to become diverse. And a lot of times in life, we have gone through so many different things, right? We have gone through, losing jobs. We have gone through, uh, you know, losing an automobile because of our finances, losing the home because we couldn't pay the mortgage on time, losing friends because we didn't pay attention to them, losing a relationship because we were so busy focused on other situations and instead of that relationship that we swore that's what we wanted or we swore that's what we desired. So when you go through those situations, that is called adversity. We do know that many of us have gone through these things. We do understand that so many of us have lost in a situation because the adversity may have seemed like it was too much to overcome, too much to bear, too much to you know defeat. Even as we go through, as most people were fasting over the past month, whether it was Ramadan or Lent, people had to lose things. They had to be adverse. They had to go through the situation in order to refine themselves, right? They had to be like Daniel. They had to go through the trials of being in a fiery furnace, or they had to go through the into the lion's den. But they gained the diversity because they overcame said situations, right? You can overcome the furnace fire by coming out with no singes, no scars, because you have an understanding that you can overcome the obstacles that are ahead of you. You don't have to be eaten by the lion. You know that you could tame the lion, and that's why you become diverse through your own adversities. You go through your pains and suffering because you know how to take care of yourself. But there are so many broken people throughout the world, right? And broken people means they don't have the understanding of they may not have the understanding of they not go that they're going through something. Riaz, good afternoon. They may not have the understanding that their mentality is or their mental state is a little bit off, or their health physically is a little bit off. Emotionally, they may not understand that they're a little bit off, right? Because they think what they're doing is correct, but they don't know that are going through an adverse state in their own lives. And then you have people that's trying to help. improve themselves. That you trying to give them words of encouragement. They look at you like you strange. They look at you like you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You think you know it all, this, that, and the third, right? Even coming on here and having a conversation like this, I am going through adversity because there may be possibility that people are doubting what I'm saying. People may not. People may call me a know-it-all. People may call me a holier than thou person, whatever you want to call me. But even now, as I'm having the conversation, I am going through adversity because there may be doubters, haters, whatever you want to call them, in the midst of the conversation. But it may, but the more that I do this, I become more diverse. It doesn't bother me because I am used to it. I know how to keep going with the words that I'm saying. I keep going with the thoughts and the wisdom that I know that I have been given, and sharing it to people. I can't control if people's going to use it. I can't control if people's going to apply it in their life. But what I can do is make it, put the information out there so people, if they want it, they can use it. If they don't want it, it's still out there. That's what makes you diverse, right? You can go through the situation and say, you know what, I may have, I may have lost my loved one, but through that adversity, I know I could become stronger and diverse by doing the things that they would want me to do, being that vocal person, being that family member that wants to keep the family, together, or whatever it is, be the glue of the family. Or even though my wife or my husband is going through the situation, I am learning how to bear with them and become the best version of myself, for myself and for them, to keep the relationship going. Or for me to be the best parent that I can be, I have to go through the situations of, oh my gosh, my child touched the stove, and now I have to console them, and bring peace to them, and they feel like their hand is burning, or whatever the case may be. You become diverse through your adversities, right? But we have to understand what we have to go through things in order to become the best version of ourselves. In a fast, you must go through temptations in order to overcome the temptations. You have to be tempted to overcome the temptations. You have to go through in order to come through. And that's something that, a lot of us can all come to an agreement and say we have that all in common. We have all gone through some things. Now the question is, have we learned our lesson? Have we gained diversity through the adversities, the difficulties of situations, and the unfortunes and the misfortunes of things that are occurring or occurring in our everyday lives? Even as we come in here, we see people may come and want to troll you because you're doing things in a manner that may be helping, or they just be trolling just because they don't like you, or they don't like your message, or they just don't want you to be who you are supposed to be, right? They mad at you because you gave the message and won't listen to the message because they don't like the messenger that gave the message, right? That's the adversity that a lot of us go through on here, right? Because we do the things that we supposed to do in some way, shape, or form. Somebody's trying to block the blessing that you are trying to give to somebody, or stop you from being a blessing to someone that may need that sound advice, or that listening ear, or just somebody that can add calmness and peace. Miss T, good morning, to a person that is going through a situation, right? That's the adversity of everyday life. There's going to be people that's going to dislike you, whether you are right, wrong, or indifferent. We must understand that. But the diversity comes in how do you overcome that situation? How do you get through the dislikes? How do you get through the misfortunes? How do you overcome the negative aspects of the adversity that you are going through? And the best way to go through it is to learn from the mistakes or learn from the situations that you go through. Every day is a learning lesson. This is why I advocate and I plead for people, stop being grown. Because if you're grown, you can never be diversified. You can never be a person that can grow from a situation because you stunt your own growth by being grown. And I'm not talking about in the physical aspect. We know that there's a time and a that you all stop growing physically. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the growth of understanding, the growth of gaining wisdom, the growth of knowledge. You should not never be grown to it, because once you are grown to it, you become you actually add more misfortunes or add more adversity to your life, but you don't become diverse. You just going through a situation because you grown. You stunt your diversity, and you'll just have adversity. So we have to figure out, what does it take for us to become diverse? How do we get through the situation? How do we say, I'm not better than you. I can actually learn from you to become the best version of myself. Watermelon, good morning. Miss Chicago, good morning. Right? And in order to become more diverse, you must get through your adversity. You must get through your doom and gloom in order to see the prosperity that can happen in your life. That's what makes you diverse. When you say, you know what, I don't no longer want to be feeling miserable because I don't know how to overcome a situation. The diversity kicks in when you do overcome that doom and gloom, when you do overcome that sadness, when you overcome the the situations that has been holding you back from elevating from days of yesterday, right? So and you have to get through your adversity to see the diversity that is occurring in your life. And the best, like I said, the best way to do it is, they tell you to figure it out, but you don't have to figure it out by yourself. Nobody said that you have to go through diversity alone. Nobody says you had to go through adversity by yourself, right? But in the cases that you do, you will have to figure it out on your own, unless you have that diverse instinct of trusting somebody that guide you through your situations and know that they are doing it for your good and not for your bad. Not to be the crab in the barrel scenario, not to be the ball on your ankle to hold you underwater till you feel smothered no more. You become diverse because you definitely understand that the adversity, the misfortunes, the bad luck, the things that you are going through that's making you feel the way that you feeling at this present time can be overcame, can be conquered, or even, dare I say, it can be controlled, right? Because we understand with duality, there's good and bad, right from wrong, things of that nature. But you would not know that if you're not diversified enough to understand how much balance you need in your life, right? The adversity of understanding that you've been down for so long, right? That you would never be diverse to say, hey, there's light at the end of the tunnel, because you may have your eyes closed so much because you don't want to see what you're looking at the present time. The diversity kicks in when you say, you know what, I know I can come through this. I can push my way through this situation. And now when you open your eyes, you see said light in the tunnel, right? But we have to understand, without the adversity, without those dark moments, without those dark stages in your life, right? The thought of becoming diverse will never be brewed into your mind or your heart or your soul, because you have everything closed. You're grown. You don't need I don't need nobody to help me with this situation. I don't need nobody to tell me what's the best thing for me, right? When you get out of that selfish stage, you know, you can become well diverse with understanding, but you have to want it for yourself. Can't nobody want it for you, just like can't nobody love you more than you should love yourself. And these are the things that adversity will try to keep us intact with. Like, okay, well, I'll nobody loves me, so I have to go through this loss of a parent by myself. Everybody say they're gonna keep in contact with me, but there ain't nobody rung my phone yet. Or Everybody say that they care about me, but I go through these typhoons or weather occurrences, and now I need a place to stay and nobody wants to offer me something, right? But the diversity is that you have to ask for the assistance. The diversity is understanding that a closed mouth can't be fed. The diversity is understanding that not everybody wants to see you destroyed but wants to help you become the best version of yourself. That's the diversity to your adversity, right? That's the balance of life that we must understand has to exist in order for us to become better people in the first place. You must go through some bad things in order to see the good through the situation. And now that you have overcome that bad situation, you know that bad situation can no longer take control of you anymore, because now you have an answer to it. And with that answer, you have become more diverse than you was the day before or the second before or the minute before. However you look at it, that diversity kicks in when you overcome said situation, right? And the fact of the matter is, we don't have all the answers. We think we know it all, but sometimes you have to step outside of your proverbial boxes and say, you know what? I have to be a better person. I have to be a bigger person. Hey, I need help. You know, a word, I need help. A watermelon, I need help. A Miss T, I need to ask you, how can I become the best version of myself? And when you start to do that, you come out of your adversity, right? The shackles of adversity becomes it starts to unloosen around you. Your yoke is now becoming equal because you're starting to break away from the bondage that's keeping you in the adverse state that we are all in, right? But it's up to you to understand that you are going through the adversity, because we looking outside in may understand it, but you got to understand it first. Just like I got to understand it if I'm not saying the things that I need to say for people to understand that I am trying to be there for them, I have to find a better way of delivering the message. I have to be more diverse, more simplified to understand how can I show these people better than I can tell them that I'm trying to be there for them. And that's a fight that we all go through every single second, every single day of our lives. Why? Because with improvement, you have to go through some things. What's the expression that for every step that you take, there's two steps trying to be taken from you to go backwards, or however that expression goes. For one step forward, there's two steps back. That is the diversity that you have to overcome. That's the adversity that you have to overcome, because someone is always trying to pull you backward instead of you from progression, right? You regress when people don't, when you stop yourself, when you block the things that need you to become the best version of yourself, or to progress into the stages that you want to be in. You want to be a boss. You have to take the steps forward to become a boss. You can't just sit there and say, well, I don't have the money. The adversity of you not having money should not complicate the diversity of you seeking the money to start when you need to start, and you start your business and things like that. So you have to understand that growth is a part of diversity. To overcome adversity, growth is included. This is why I tell you never to stunt your growth. Don't be grown. Be open. Be objective to the help that is around you. Be observant of those that really want you to win. Right? If you try the spirit by the spirit, you can understand that there's going to be people for you and there's going to be people against you. But that's the diversity that you have to go through. You can't just be in the adverse state. Oh, well, woe is me. Nobody wants to help me. Nobody wants to do this, that, and the third. No, you have to be in a stage of elevation. You have to be in a stage of improvement. And a lot of the conversations that I do have is for improvement, because I don't want nobody to feel like I'm hurting them. I'm trying to help them. Any given time that you feel like I am putting you in harm's way, please tell me so I can get out of the way, so your elevation can still occur even if my hand is not in it. My help is for you. My best, not help. My My biggest joy is to see people elevate themselves. And when you elevate yourself, you find out that you are more than what you was yesterday, right? You thought all you knew how to do was count to 10. Now you can count to 15, right? You start with the simple steps. And the year of completion, you have to take these steps in order to become completed, right? The completion of self, you have to understand what you have to go through, and what you building from those situations is what gets you to the finish line, right? Riaz just did a 30-day fast for Ramadan. He said that he got the completion he needed through his fasting. So he had to go through the adversity to make him diverse enough to understand that he has overcome the thing that was trying to keep him back. All of us has to go through those stages, whether we're fasting or not. And in spirituality, we have to fast physically in order to lose to shed the weight that's keeping us back from hitting the weight that we want to weigh, right? That's the diversity, right? You go through the winning stages to overcome the losing stages, right? We must understand that quitters never win and winners never quit. Otherwise, we will be in an adverse state longer than we need to be. But it's the diversity that makes us better people, better friends, better siblings, better parents, better lovers, whatever it is. Diversity help us to get through those situations. Why? Because we are learning from the misfortunes, learning from the mishaps that we go through on the everyday stages. And when we go through those situations, we have to be the best versions of ourselves in order to do the things that we need to do to get through the adversity and to become more diverse. We have to do those things. So, a lot of it is up to the individuals, up to you. It's up to me to get through those things. Movado, good morning. How are you? Right? And those are the things that we need to understand as we go through the situations, right? We have to we have to overcome the adversity. We have to overcome the shackles. We have to overcome the bondage of whatever is holding us back, depression, uh, 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 insecurities, whatever it is, to become diverse. We must overcome that. Now I know what why I felt insecure. We got to, as Word would say, we got to get through the whys in life. Why am I feeling insecure? Why do I feel nobody don't love me? Why do I feel like I'm not helpful? The whys in life is the questions that we asking ourselves. But the diversification is when we get the answers that we need and apply it to our lives. We are no longer adverse, but we are diverse because we are applying the answers that we are gaining from the adversity in the first place. So we just got to do the things that we need to do to be the best version of ourselves, to be a better version of ourselves. We have to go through those situations. And if we do not go through those situations, then we got a lot more work to do. We are walking in quicksand, sinking sand, because the adversity is taking control over us, and we're not seeing the answer or the diversity that may be right in front of us. We can grab it and pull ourselves out of a situation, but as long as we're not trying to be diversified through the situation, we're stuck in the quicksand. And that's what we need to understand going forward. In order for us to be better versions of ourselves, we have to go through diversity, right? In order for a better you to become a better us, we have to go through the things ourselves. It's not about you being right, it's about it being right. That's what diversity is. Something that is being corrected in your life. It doesn't have to be you per se, it doesn't have to be your idea per se. The logic has to be correct. The information has to be correct to pull you from the adversity to the diversified person that you are trying to be. And when you become diversified, once you become that better person, you can be more of a cosmopolitan, meaning that you understand both sides of adversity and diversity, because you have the balance of knowing one side and the other. And then you can say, you know what? I can help you get to your situation. And if you're happy, I can help you keep your happiness to where it needs to be. Why? Because you have the answers of balance in your life. And when you have the answers of balance in your life, you can go ahead and feel secure about yourself, to say, you know what, I am helping people. I'm not hurting people. This is why, when you guys come back, this is why the humility comes in for me, because you guys keep coming back and say, you know what, I understood your message and I appreciate your message. So I think I am being diversified because you guys are pouring into me through the adversity of me worrying about if I'm doing the things right or not. And that's why a better you is a better us. The logic of the 9%, and what's word logic is because when the answer is right, it's not that I'm giving you the answer, it's that the answer is right. And when you apply it to yourself, you become more diversified, and it makes me more diversified because now I'm seeking more answers because I know I'm on the right track. And when you know you're on the right track, you do your best not to be detoured. Adversity can't make you, it can't hold you back anymore because you now have the answer and now are diversified. So as long as we have that understanding of what adversity, how adversity makes you diverse, or how adversity makes you, gains you diversity, we now have to apply it into everyday life. How do I become the best version of myself? And is what I'm saying correct or not? If you apply it, if you apply it to your everyday life and it works for you, then it is right, not I am right. But a lot of the times we are so adverse, excuse me, because we worry about, we're so upset with the messenger that the adversity is not allowing us to receive the message, right? But we become diverse when we can overcome the messenger, or why we dislike the messenger, or why we think he don't know what the hell, or she, they what they're talking about. But if we apply it, we become more diverse. We let go of the adversity of the misunderstanding of the individual, but become diversified because the message was correct. The message has added or improved your understanding of certain things in life. So we as individuals have to overcome certain things. That's the adversity of life, right? We have to overcome it. And when you overcome it, you become more diverse because you now are gaining the answers. And that's one thing that we have to understand going forward, because we are all getting older, we are all becoming examples. Some of us are, most of us are parents, some of us are grandparents, right? And we must understand, in order to improve our family dynamics, we have to be diversified to understand different generations, right? If you are stuck in your own ways, you are blocking the diversity in your life because you think your way is right. But you have to understand, time moves on with us or without us, right? The adversity is to understand what the young kids are saying. Are you down? How we say, are you down? They may got a new word for that. The diversity is understanding what they're telling us so we can become the examples that we never thought was in our lives in the first place, right? And that's the thing that we have to do. We gotta move with the time. The diversity is in time and not in nothing else that's keeping us away from understanding, right? As long as we are adverse through misfortunes and mishaps, and we think we're better than this person, we don't see the diversity in ourselves. We block the blessings, we block the understanding, we block the wisdom that makes us diverse and then can help other people to become more diversified. We have to get out of our own way. As long as we're in our own way, the adversity is going to overtake us and keep us from being diversified, right? That is a part of the life that we had been going through, right? Because a lot of us felt we had to do things on our own. We thought we was an island, but no man is an island. And in this case, no person is an island, right? That's what helpmates is for. And when you get through helpmates and when you get through situations, you become more diversified because what's the logic? Two heads are better than one. Right. So two minds that are working together, you could get through the adversity of not knowing a thing, right? So if you have a CEO and a COO, you might see something different than what I see, and we can grow together. And the diversity is now we're developing something that was better than just what my own thoughts would be. You have added something to me. You have diversified my portfolio in my mind of understanding the portfolio and finances. That means you have to invest in other aspects of things financially have your portfolio diversified. And when it gains something, what are you called? You're called a well diversified investor, right? Shout out to Lisa J. Shout out to Prez. Those are investing people that we know that teaches us that when you put more stuff into situation, when you diversify your portfolio, you have a better chance of gaining more assets in your life. The adversity will be defeated by the diversity of your portfolio. If you only putting one thing in the situation, you put one penny in one situation, there's a chance that you still be adverse, because the misfortune is you probably may not gain. But if you put one penny here, and here, there's a good chance that your portfolio will diversify, because maybe more than one, maybe more than half will be diversified and increase in assets, increase in value. And that's what a diversity means for us. We have to increase in value. We have to increase in understanding. We have to increase in being the best person that we can be. But as long as we block we keep adversity as the focal point, we never going to get the diversity of the answers that will help us to grow. And so, that's the stuff that I want people to understand as we go forward in everyday life. As this is the year of completion. We have to understand there has to be balance. Without completion completion can only happen with you know balance. So adversity must be balanced with diversity in order for you to become the person that you need to be going forward. And without that, we're just we're just walking on earth. We're not becoming better versions of ourselves, because there's something that's holding us back. And the thing that's holding us back is that we don't want to be diversified. Our way is the best way. My way is the only thing that I need. Things of that nature. Nah, you need the assistance of other people. You need the input of other people, because your vision may be hindered because there's something in front of you, when somebody on the outside looking in can tell you there's another route. You have to you have to diversify yourself and take that information and apply it to yourself. And now when you do that, you become a better version of yourself. So, but that's, pretty much, you know, the situation for me as far as adversity makes me diverse, right? Without you guys adding comments and telling me that I'm on the right path, or if you say, you know what, Gary, if you come about it from this avenue, you may reach other people. I'm going to take that advice, right? Because the advice may be valid. My pride does not get in the way and say, you know what? Thank you, Miss T, for adding your input. Thank you, Word, for adding your input. Thank you, Miss Chicago, for adding your input. Thank you, Scorp, for adding the input. You have to add. Thank you, Riaz, for adding the input. You have to understand the only way you can see if it works for you is if you apply it to yourself. If you apply it and it doesn't work, you can always say you tried, right? Yet if it does work, you don't have to say, well, that was my idea. Thank you, Riaz. Thank you, or whoever it was that gave you the advice. Thank you, and go forward with the information and see because I promise you, once you apply that information, more things will be added unto you. That's what diversity is. When you apply something into your life to improve it, something else is going to be added to you. There's nothing new under the sun. All the things that you need is going to be provided for you. But it won't be provided if you're in an adverse state of doom and gloom, because you're not going to see prosperity. You're not going to see happiness. You're not going to see joy. You're not going to see love. All you're going to see is the thing that is right in front of you. The woe is me, the doom and gloom, and things of that nature. But when you overcome or look past that and see that there's people that's willing to be there for you, to add to you, to help you get to the diverse state that you in, adversity can no longer take control of your everyday life. So, I just wanted to have this conversation because everybody's talking about adversity, adversity, adversity. But if you have the adversity, what does it mean for you? What does it mean to you that you have adversity? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's a bad thing when you don't have the answer to get through the adversity, right? If you only know what adversity is, okay, well, what's your solution to the adversity? My solution to the adversity is to figure out a way to become diverse to get through the adversity in the first place. If you find a solution, you will no longer be adverse. You will be diverse. That means you will have more die. I know die is a single thing, and like die and dice. I understand that part, but the diversity is when you can overcome that one adversity that you have that's been holding you back. I don't never want to see nobody going through situations. It like when I say it hurts me because we see enough miserable people, we see enough sad people, we see enough hurt people, we see enough broken people trying to be add to broken people. No, I don't. I mean, but let's work on ourselves together. Let's become diverse together. Let's build a community to say, you know what, the diversity in you is going to make me a better person. A better you is a better us. Let's work on that, right? And when we actually begin to put all of the pieces together, we can have a picture of a perfect puzzle. We can understand what the puzzle is because we are doing the work ourselves. I can't be strong without you, and you may not be strong without me. But the fact that we're working together, it makes us both strong. We could find out, you could find my weakest part and make me stronger, and I could do the same in return. That's the diversity that we should be seeking anyhow, because we are going through enough obstacles in the world to keep us in the doom and gloom stages, whether it's political, whether it's social, whether it's economical, no matter how it is. Let's become diverse to overcome those situations, right? Your dime and my dime will give us more to buy. Your dollar and my dollar it gives us more to buy. We don't have to just worry about my $1. If we combine the dollars together, if we combine the knowledge together, if we combine the information together, we can pull a lot of people from the quicksand that's holding them down or sinking them, right? We all have to work together. And when we do that, we all become diversified. It's bad enough we go through the adversity of not liking a person because of their skin complexion, their race, or whatever it is. It's not about that. If we work together, we all become diversified. We don't have to go through the adversity by ourselves. We can all pull ourselves from the adversity. We can pull ourselves out of the lion den. We can pull ourselves out of the furnace fire. We can work together to defeat the Goliaths of our everyday lives. But that's what makes us diverse and not adverse. So we have to understand what it means to you know work together. We have to understand what it means to add to each other and not take away from each other. When we do that, that's when you can see the end of the rainbow. It may not be the pot of gold that you want it to be, but the pot of gold could be happiness, joy, peace, victory, right? It doesn't have to be a financial thing. Abundance does not mean financial. You can have an abundance of a substance, right? You can have an abundance of love. You can have an abundance of wisdom, abundance of understanding. And where's that? You have to store it somewhere for the abundance to be maintained. So when you go through those type of situations, uh, when you go through the situations like that, you become the version that you need to be. You become more diverse. You become the person that wants to see other people gain and not lose. And that's, I work on that, on an everyday basis. But without you guys, it's not possible. Without, family that understands the process or what I'm trying to do with myself, it's not possible. So when you understand that there are people that's willing to be there for you and not against you, they're going to make you more diverse and not adverse. So those are the things that, I wanted to come up here and say. Hold on. What do you say? Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? It happens like that, right? But, you know, This is what makes us better people by coming together and putting our resources together. That's what makes us diversified, right? What Miss T may have, I may not have. What Miss T may not have, Word may have. What Word may not have, Watermelon may have. You understand what I'm saying? The process of what we can add together. Every little penny can make sense, and every cent could make a dollar, and every dollar could get us to a to a point in life to where we can prosper in our everyday life, and that's what makes us diverse. That's what adds diversity into your life. So those are the things that I really wanted to say. uh I don't know if anybody wanted to hit the link, but the link was there. So if you wanted to come up, that's fine. But I just wanted to have that conversation because, like I said, everybody says they go through adversity, but do you know what adversity means? Do you know or understand what the adversity is, as far as, you know what I mean? Like, how is it hindering you, your adversity? How is it holding you back? What is your solution to get through the adversity? Right. And for a lot of us, we think we have the answers, but we still in the misfortunes of life. We still go through the down stages of life because we do not have the answers. And when we don't have the answers, we are not being diversified because we're still stuck in the misfortunes in life. So in order for you to defeat the misfortunes, you must have the information to be fortunate enough to resolve the misfortunes. That's the diversity that we need in everyday life. So, when you go through situations like that, uh, you must add in order to become diverse. Young Riaz, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing good, man.
What's going on? What you want to add to the conversation?
Mm, Kind of see what you mean though, but not really much though, man.
Mm. Like, like a lot of the times that I use you as an example because, as I tell everybody, I don't think everybody understands how young you are and how much you try to add solutions to, situations and problems. Even if it may not be received, the fact that you are trying, you are adding more diversity to a situation than adversity. You're not holding anybody back by adding your information. So
Okay.
I truly appreciate the things that you try to do, even if it's not being received by a lot of people, right? But you
Yeah.
also, like, and a lot of the times you do take the advice to become diversified. A lot of the times people don't want to accept you for who you are, whatever the case may be. And there's been plenty of times that people have, you know, actually told you, Riaz, it's best if you don't go to this place or that place or that place because it may not be well suited for you. And when you follow that, you have the understanding of why it's being told to you, and it's not to hurt you, it's to just to let you know that there may not be well intentioned people for you. And when you follow that, you become more understanding and diverse because you will see that a lot of the times, if it's right, it's right. It's no, you know what I mean? It's not because somebody's hating on you. It's just that people are worried about you going into places where you may not be suited for.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, I kind of see where you're coming from on that though. I probably also heard the advice thing as well. I know what you mean though. And probably when the advice is told to me first time should be taken in first time. But I guess everyone's different though. Like you can tell someone something, but then when they actually truly learn for themselves, that's when I truly understood and actually how I really improved myself a lot from 2 years back. Because yes, everyone else has told me to do that though, but it was just, for me to truly learn is I have to learn from myself. And when I actually show improvement, that's how the same people, truly understood, how much I've improved.
Yeah, and and you have the understanding that sometimes it's not going to be, the answer's not going to be like right there for you. It's not going to work for you instantaneously, right? It takes time. And when you take the time to apply it to yourself, you start to see that the answer is truly meant for you to be. So is that is that a better way to assess how you figure things out for yourself?
Yeah. Pretty much though, like, I was given advice first. I was like, it's like ingrained in me. Like basically though, I had to find the right person to actually help me, move accordingly. So when I took how they moved, all right, 2 years back, when I actually found the people who actually helped me out how to move properly and everything, when I saw how they did stuff though and how they move and where they went, that's when I truly okay understood, the advice that was given to me, you know? That's how, like, basic. I saw how they shared, and then I followed where they went, and I kept following where they went, and eventually led me to places, though, which was better. So it was just, matter of time, though. Like, I had to find the right person, you know, I know I always had right people just saying though, just the one person who would just consistently stick with me though. And when I actually saw how they actually believe in me, that's when I actually truly understood how they moved and stuff. So I just took a page out of their book and realized, okay, I understand what they're saying to me.
And you see when you are following, the examples that or the answers that's given to you, you see that once it worked for you, now you can actually help more people if they go through the situation. Why? Because now you have the experience and the understanding of knowing exactly what they're going through. One, because you've gone through it yourself. That's the diversity of life that people, they think they know, but you don't really know until you go through the experiences of other people. And then you can say, now I understand what you mean. Like I could never understand what you go through on an everyday basis, right? So if somebody is in your predicament, you would be better to have the conversation with, because y'all have the same situation with one another. So your advice will be more better than mine's, because I don't have the idea of what you guys go through. You would understand how that person goes through it. And then when you give them the answer and it works for them, that's what makes them diverse. And that's why,
Mhm.
even if people don't grasp or understand you a lot of the time, you just got to remember that your message could reach one person, and when it does, that person becomes a better person, and they may be able to help another person down the line. That's what information do. Information makes you diverse, and when you become diverse, you can actually help people instead of hurting them.
Yeah, and also the same people though, who actually did that to me as well. I never held a grudge against them. I just learned to let it go because then I just really understood, okay, they were in this predicament that time in general though, and it's nothing personal against me. So I just basically, okay, look, I just gotta create my own kind of rep and make myself respected. So I just learned to respect myself. That's how I actually got to where I got to, and it's all credit to God. Though I like to remain level-headed, because then I truly actually know that that's how I move up. Because I know same people on the way up is on the way down, so I just rather basically remain level-headed so that I know where I'm actually going.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of balance, right? And that's the whole thing of giving messages like this, right? If you have the
Mhm.
balance of a situation, you can understand the good and the bad. You can take what you need to do to improve yourself, and whatever doesn't work for you, you leave it because it may work for somebody else. But that's what makes you
Yeah.
diverse, the understanding of what you're going through, the understanding of information. And when you have that understanding, you can gladly leave it for somebody like, hey, I may not be able to use this, but you are able to use this, right? Because if I know how to build a house, right, I may
Yeah.
I may leave some information, because that information may teach you how to build a build a car. You know what I mean? It's different information. All of my information may not fit for one person. It may help somebody else down the line. But that's what diversity is. Everything is not meant for you. It may be meant for other people. But if you have the information, you should give it out, and it may work for somebody else. So I definitely understand what you're saying by, the experiences that you have gone through.
Yeah,
So, when you go through those situations, it makes that person that receives it better, but it also makes you better because now that you felt like you have added to somebody's life, you want to know what can I do to help other people down the line, and it makes you want to seek the information to make you more diverse. Now like I may not know how to count to 10, but I may be able to help somebody tie their shoe. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Things of that nature. When you get the information, you understand wisdom is not meant for you. It's meant for you to share to other people. Understanding is for you, but to help somebody else understand is more of a blessing for somebody because you have the wisdom for somebody to understand what you're trying to give them, hopefully. And that's what diversity is a part of too.
yeah. I kind of agree with you on that though as well. I agree though as well.
So I just think that we all can help one another. It doesn't matter about your age, it doesn't matter about your race, it doesn't matter about your gender, right? The fact is,
Hmm.
what you have for me, I can learn from, and what I have for you, you may learn from, and what we may have for somebody else, they may learn from both of us. It's like each one teach one, right? And when you have that mantra of each one teach one, you are making yourself diverse, and you may be adding to someone's overcoming of the adversity and making them diverse at the same time. So I always think that two heads are better than one, but it wouldn't three heads be better than two and four heads be better than three? The number of
Hmm.
people that adds to you, that makes you diversify, right? And when you get to that level, like, okay, we can all come to a solution. Why? Because your idea may work for me and my idea may work for you, but our idea may work for somebody else and they can improve it 100-fold or whatever the number is going to be. So you got to understand that, we all can be an improvement to somebody. We all can help somebody, but you know, we have to understand that a closed mouth, it can't be fed. So you got to
Yeah,
say something.
yeah. I agree though. That makes sense though. Yeah, that's as much I've got today though. Don't really have much to say to be honest though, because I see where you're coming from though. And also, though, as well, pretty much what I said, and as well, is the only person to hold you accountable is you, though. I'm responsible for myself. Yes, someone can actually help me, they can guide me, they can hold me accountable, but I have to truly understand, look, this is what I did, and I have to self reflect on what actually I did. Even if I did not understand it at that time, I'm going to truly understand it later on. Yes,
And
by then I would have truly learned something. Because it's like, so it took time to actually learn to reflect, and that's how it is.
yeah, that's just like if somebody pulls over, like you on the side of the road and you driving, right, and you have a flat tire. Somebody comes and shows you, somebody fixes your tire. Now your job is to understand how they fix the tire, right? Okay, they had to take the
Mm-hmm.
lug nuts off, right? They had to jack the car first, then take the nuts off the tire, then get your spare tire out the car, put it on the axle, then screw it back on. You're learning through that experience. Now that you know that you can actually change your own tire, you won't have to wait for somebody. You don't have to wait for that good Samaritan to stop, right? Because a lot of the times, the good Samaritan may not come on your time. You might be on the road for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, waiting for somebody to stop because you don't know. Now that you become diversified and knowing how to change your tire, now you don't have to wait for that person no more. Now you have an understanding. I could put the donut I could put the spare tire on my car, get home, and then worry about that fixing that tire the next available day. Hopefully it'd be the next day exactly, but time keeps people busy, and people, a lot of people don't find the time. But you got to find the time to learn how to change the tire in the first place. Otherwise, you could be on that dark road for a longer period of time then you're supposed to be on it, you know?
Yeah.
And that's it, and that's the information that you know we as a society should be putting out there, right? Like you into music, right? I can't speak about
Mm-hmm.
music. You know you come from the music genre, right? And
Yeah.
I may not know European music. You may know European music. You may say, you know what, Gary, I think you should listen to this person because what you say he's saying in his music, I think you can connect on another level, right? But I wouldn't know that if you don't take the time and say, I think that's a good idea for you, Gary, to listen to this person. Maybe y'all could link up and have a conversation, and then we can pour into each other and become more diverse with the information that we have, right? It's about
Right.
understanding that you are not you have to go through a situation by yourself, right? You don't we don't None of us have all the answers, right?
Of
But
course, of
somebody
course.
can give you a piece of information to get you on the path of understanding that information that you need. But like I said,
Yeah.
if you don't have the gumption of saying I need help, you'll never find the help. It's not always just going
Yeah.
to fall into your lap.
Exactly, I agree with you though. And also though, as well, if I actually do suggest, when different artists in UK or like European type of stuff though, I just like to give extra information as well. So then it like, it's something for you at least to like, take into consideration, a little bit more as well, because you can tell someone something about it, you can take a look, but then you'd also like to know more. So I know you could do research yourself, but I like to basically give a little extra information. So then basically kind of know a little bit more than you knew before.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. When you add to somebody, you like I said, when you add to somebody, you're becoming more diverse, right? Because what I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know and what you're giving me now I understand a little bit more, right? And then when I ask you to continue to explain and explain and explain to the where I can get it, now I can say, you know what? I know somebody who taught me this stuff. Let me hook you up with young Riaz because he has a better understanding than what I do, and I think he can explain it more. And then you get information from him and vice or that person and vice versa. Now you become a better person, a better version of yourself because you're gaining information, you're gaining understanding, and that's what diversity is to add to something that you may not have or to gain something that you may not have had. And that's what
Right,
that's the message of the day,
right. I agree with you though. Right, right. That makes sense though.
and like, the fact that you're willing to the fact that you're willing to come up here and have the conversation, it shows that you want more understanding, you want more knowledge, and that it allows you to become a better person, right? And that's why I
Mm-hmm.
continuously use you, right? Like I said earlier, it's not just because you're the youngest person probably in the entire chat. It's just the fact that you want the information, you want to learn, you want to be more diverse in understanding things that may not be, you know, understood before you came up on a panel, before you decided, to ask questions. And that's what makes you a unique person. And that's why, you have a lot of people cheering for you because they understand you just want the information to know and not to use it or abuse it, but to become a better version of yourself. That's why you have a lot of
Of
people
course.
cheering for you. That's why you have a lot of respect from people, wherever it is, whether it's, the UK, America, or any other continent, because we understand that you are trying to gain wisdom and understanding, and that's always going to make you diverse, but it's also going to have people cheering for you because of your efforts. So you're going to get a
Right,
lot more support than somebody that's not trying to gain the information. So that's
right,
why I always applaud you and I always shout you out because you have an understanding that, it's always been refreshing because you just want to understand. Even if you may not get it that first time, you'll ask, well, I need you to explain it in another way. Or, give me a second because it's a lot of information. The to put in my mind at one time. And then you ask for the grace of understanding and you get it. And that's why, like I
Mm.
said, a lot of the time, that's why you always going to be a person with a lot of diversity, because you take the time and you just want to know the answers, and that's what makes you a unique person.
Of course, because I actually like to think, I want to think outside the box though, because I feel like there's more to not just me, but there's more to my existence though. Like, yes, though, I'm, believer and everything like that, but I think to me, there's more to, like what we really think though. And, us wanting to know more, I feel like thinking outside the box will actually make it better though. So sometimes though, to some people, like what we say, they're thinking, why are you saying that? Or like, this sounds, not right. I mean, to them, no, it sounds like it though. But in reality, though, you're thinking outside the box and it makes you unique though.
But that's the uniqueness of a thing, because
I
you
agree.
know it's it people may not understand you, right? But those that understand you is going to say, you know what, I truly appreciate what you're trying to do, right? Even if it's not successful, the understanding of why you're doing it makes you diverse, because there's people really paying attention to what you're trying to do, right? Even if you don't get it right, all right, I understand you didn't get it right, but the fact that you applied it means that you are seeking the information to make you a better person. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
people really are looking for in everyday life. And when you find that in everyday life, you have no choice but to root for that person, right? It's like the little engine that could. When you see that I think I can, and you start to make the effort to go up that hill of elevation, people are going to cheer for you. Some people may be sad that you might be sliding down, but some people might say, hey, if we all work together, we can give him that boost to go over that said hill, the proverbial hill, and now he can just go on about his business. That's the goal that a lot of us should want, but because we don't want people to be better than us, we tend to hate and block it instead of making you a better person.
Right. I mean, yeah, I totally agree with you, but however, though, I mean, do appreciate you for letting me up, though. I'm just gonna hop down, though, because I feel like, though, I've had, not like enough. I said this is as much I've got to say today, though, right now, but I do appreciate you for having me up, though.
Oh, I appreciate you coming up here. That's what it's for. Whatever you can add, you're helping us become better understanding of you and other people, that the bravery that you have to come up here is something that makes you a unique person too, right? Because there's a lot of people, they may not have that courage to come up here, but once people start to come up here, you may encourage somebody to do the same. That's helping with diversity as well, adding encouragement, adding bravery to somebody. People feel like they may not have the voice, but a voice is a voice, and if it's understood, it can help somebody. So I truly appreciate you coming up.
Okay, you're welcome, though.
No problem. Yeah, shout out to young Riaz for coming up here and adding to the conversation, right? But that's all it takes. That's what makes us diverse, right? Us having the conversation, us adding to one another. That's what gets us away from adversity. That's what takes us from the doom and gloom, right? It gets us out of the woe is me stage, the misfortunes. Sometimes somebody else's misfortune can help you gain understanding of what you have to do to get over the proverbial hump. Like I was just saying about the little engine that could. Once you find that out, the diversity of you overcoming is always going to be there, as long as you seek the answers of overcoming your adversity. So with that being said, if nobody else is going to come up, I appreciate, everybody that came through. Um I'll probably be back. I should be back on Monday for, those that got through the 40-day fast, to, congratulate and celebrate you overcoming the adversities of the fasting and and overcoming the temptations that you had to go through during that fast, but you have finished your race. And so, with that being said, I appreciate everybody that came through. Shout out to Young Riaz for jumping up on the panel. Scorp, I appreciate you. Uh Word, my 33 brother, always. Miss T, I appreciate you. Movado, I appreciate you coming through. Just to tell me you're gonna catch the replay. Like every voice of encouragement counts. I think I know Watermelon was here. I don't know if she's still here, but I appreciate her. It's always good to see her. It's always a blessing. Uh, when you go through the situations that you go through, it's always, it's always love and appreciation for people to come through. But with that being said, I truly appreciate everybody coming through. I'll see you guys on Monday. Until then, see you then.